But Jesus speaks to the storm, and the storm obeys his voice.
Bill Gaither is not just a musician, he is a living legend whose songs have touched hearts around the world for more than 6 decades. Born with a deep love for gospel music, Bill became one of the most influential figures in Christian music history. Through his work as a singer, songwriter, and producer, he brought messages of hope, love, and faith to millions. His famous songs like "Because He Lives" and "He Touched Me" became more than just melodies, they became anthems of strength for people facing life's toughest moments. Bill's voice carried both peace and passion, and his smile reflected the warmth of his message. He wasn't just performing, he was sharing his heart every time he sang. Through the Gaither homecoming concerts, television specials, and albums, he created a community that celebrated the beauty of faith through music. But while his career was filled with light and applause, behind the curtain was a man who faced pain, loss, and many silent battles. Like many great artists, Bill Gaither carried the weight of both joy and sorrow, learning that fame does not protect the heart from heartbreak. His life, though celebrated publicly, was also marked by private moments of struggle that tested his strength and faith. And yet, through every storm, his belief in God and the healing power of music never wavered. Bill Gaither often described songwriting as a deeply personal and spiritual journey. He once said that each morning he woke up eager to sit down with his guitar or piano, ready to see what message God would inspire him to write that day. To Bill, music was not a business, it was a calling. But behind the joy of creativity came moments of physical and emotional pain. As the years passed, Bill faced growing health challenges that began to slow him down. He struggled with fatigue, mobility issues, and the stress of maintaining an active touring schedule well into his 80s. Yet, he continued performing, determined to bring light to others even when his own body was weary. Fans noticed that his stage energy was not what it used to be, but his voice still carried the same heartfelt emotion it always had. Bill was known to walk up to 10,000 steps a day just to keep himself strong enough for his shows. But as his age advanced, the toll of decades of travel and performing began to show. Still, he never complained publicly. Instead, he kept smiling and singing, knowing that his message gave others courage to face their own battles. What many didn't see was that every song he performed came from a place of sacrifice, a place where he gave all of himself for the sake of his faith and his fans. By the year 2025, Bill Gaither was 87 years old and still standing proudly before audiences who adored him. His concerts continued to draw crowds who came not only for the music but also for the feeling of peace that surrounded his performances. However, during what was supposed to be another joyful Gaither homecoming concert, tragedy struck. In the middle of a performance, Bill suddenly collapsed on stage in front of thousands of shocked fans. The audience gasped as medical staff rushed to his aid. For a moment, it felt like time stood still. Thankfully, doctors managed to save him, but the incident became a powerful sign that his body could no longer endure the demands of live touring. In the days that followed, Bill released an emotional statement announcing his retirement from public performances. He wrote that it was time to focus on his health and family, a decision made with a heavy heart. For fans, it felt like the end of an era. Many were in tears, realizing they might never see him perform live again. Yet, even in retirement, Bill promised that his mission was far from over. He would continue writing songs, mentoring young gospel artists, and sharing his faith in ways that didn't require the physical strain of the stage. It was a bittersweet moment, a goodbye to concerts, but not to the music that defined his life. Long before his own health struggles, Bill Gaither had already experienced deep personal losses that left lasting marks on his heart. One of the most painful came in 2001, when his beloved brother, Danny Gaither, passed away after battling lymphoma. Danny had been a vital part of the Bill Gaither trio, formed in the 1950s with their sister Mary. Together, they created timeless gospel classics that inspired generations. Danny's smooth tenor voice blended beautifully with Bill's, creating harmonies that became the soundtrack of faith for millions. When illness forced Danny to step away from performing, Bill was devastated. And when Danny died at just 62, Bill lost not only a brother but also a lifelong musical partner. A few years later, in 2004, tragedy struck again when gospel legend Jake Hess, one of Bill's mentors and closest friends, died of a heart attack at 76. Jake had been one of Bill's greatest inspirations, a man whose voice and faith helped shape his own. Their bond was like that of brothers, and Jake's passing left a void that could never be filled. In 2005, the pain deepened when George Younce, the legendary bass singer of the Cathedral Quartet, passed away. George had battled kidney and heart disease, yet continued to perform with unwavering faith until his final days. Each loss reminded Bill of the fragility of life and the preciousness of time. Just when it seemed the pain could not deepen, tragedy struck again in 2006 with the sudden death of Anthony Berger, one of gospel music's most talented pianists and a dear friend to Bill Gaither. Anthony's life was a story of triumph over suffering. As a child, he suffered severe burns in an accident but overcame the odds to become one of the brightest stars in gospel music. His energy, joy, and skill at the piano made him a favorite at Gaither homecoming concerts. Fans adored watching his fingers dance across the keys as he played with passion and praise. But during a Gaither gospel cruise in the Caribbean, the unthinkable happened. While performing on stage, Anthony collapsed mid-song from a heart attack. He was only 44 years old. The loss stunned the gospel community and left Bill heartbroken. Anthony had been like a son to him, a friend whose laughter and faith had brightened even the darkest days. Bill later said that losing Anthony felt like losing a part of his musical family. These losses, his brother, his friends, his colleagues, shaped Bill's later years, reminding him that even the strongest faith is tested by sorrow. Yet, through every heartbreak, he turned to what he knew best, music. For him, every note he wrote after those tragedies was both a prayer and a promise to keep their memories alive. Even through heartbreak, illness, and the slow fading of time, Bill Gaither's faith remained strong. He often spoke about how music gave him strength when words could not. He believed that songs were not just sounds but messages from the soul, gifts meant to heal and bring people closer to God. After his retirement, Bill continued writing and mentoring young gospel singers from his home. He shared lessons about humility, compassion, and faith, teaching them that music was never about fame or applause, but about touching hearts. Many young artists have shared how Bill's words changed their lives, encouraging them to keep singing even when life felt heavy. The Gaither homecoming community he built became more than just a stage, it became a family that carried on his mission of hope. Bill once said that family means standing together no matter what happens, and he lived that truth in every friendship and song. His ability to remain gentle, humble, and faithful even after facing so much pain made him an example of true grace. Through every storm, Bill Gaither showed the world that faith can stand firm, even when life feels uncertain. When Bill Gaither announced his retirement in 2025, fans around the world poured out their love and support. Social media was flooded with messages of encouragement, prayers, and stories from people whose lives had been touched by his songs. Churches dedicated special tributes to him, and choirs across the country sang his music in his honor. For many, his songs had carried them through loss, sickness, and moments of doubt. People wrote about playing because he lives at funerals, weddings, and during sleepless nights when they needed strength. To his fans, Bill Gaither was more than a singer, he was a companion in faith. Gospel artists like David Phelps called him a father figure and praised him for mentoring new generations with kindness and patience. Even though Bill had stepped away from the spotlight, his presence in people's hearts remained strong. His songs continue to be sung in churches, homes, and gatherings around the world, reminding everyone that even in tragedy, there is hope. Bill Gaither's story is not just one of sorrow but also of incredible strength. His journey shows that faith does not remove pain, but it helps us endure it. He may have retired, but his music will forever echo in the hearts of those who believe. Bill Gaither's life proves that while tragedy is real, hope is stronger, and that hope is his greatest legacy. Few names in gospel music carry as much emotional weight as Bill and Gloria Gaither. For over 6 decades, their music has lifted hearts, healed souls, and brought comfort to millions around the world. Their songs aren't just melodies, they're testimonies of hope, love, and faith that have stood strong through generations. Together, they've written and performed songs that define the meaning of Christian devotion, from Because He Lives to He Touched Me. Each lyric speaks about overcoming trials and finding strength in God's promises. Their story isn't only about music, it's about resilience, unity, and unwavering purpose. Through every joy and heartbreak, Bill and Gloria built a musical ministry that became a movement, one that continues to inspire long after many of their peers have faded from the stage. Born in 1936 in Alexandria, Indiana, Bill Gaither grew up in a family that valued hard work and faith. From a young age, he was fascinated by gospel harmonies and the way music could touch hearts. He began writing songs while working as a high school English teacher, but his love for music never left him. In the early years, Bill juggled both careers, teaching during the day and performing in small churches and gatherings at night. His early passion and humble beginnings shaped his deep connection with audiences. He understood the everyday struggles people faced and wanted his music to bring comfort and encouragement. What made Bill different was his genuine heart. He didn't chase fame, he sought connection. Every song he wrote reflected a piece of real life, wrapped in faith and hope. It was this honesty that made his music relatable, helping him rise from small-town performances to national recognition in gospel music. When Bill met Gloria Sickle, it was more than a romantic encounter, it was the beginning of one of gospel music's most inspiring partnerships. They met while both were teachers, and their shared faith and passion for music brought them closer. Soon, their relationship turned into a lifelong collaboration that changed the course of Christian music history. Together, they wrote over 700 songs, many of which became classics sung in churches around the world. Gloria brought a poetic touch to their lyrics, while Bill's musical genius gave each song its heartbeat. Their marriage wasn't just a love story, it was a spiritual bond that turned their home into a center of creativity and prayer. Their songs often came from personal experiences, moments of struggle, joy, and revelation. Gloria once said that their best songs came from places of pain that turned into praise. This honest approach helped millions relate to their music on a deeply personal level. Among the hundreds of songs they've written, Because He Lives remains their most enduring masterpiece. Written during a period of uncertainty and change, the song came as a declaration of faith over fear. Gloria was expecting their third child during a time when the world seemed unstable, war, unrest, and social upheaval surrounded them. In that moment of anxiety, they found comfort in their faith and wrote, Because He Lives, I can face tomorrow. The song quickly became an anthem for believers around the world. Its simple words carried profound meaning, reminding people that hope in Christ is stronger than any fear. Over the decades, the song has been performed in countless languages and remains a symbol of courage for those walking through dark times. It perfectly captured the essence of the Gaithers' message, that no matter what life brings, faith gives us strength to endure. In the early 1980s, Bill Gaither took gospel music in a new direction by forming the Gaither Vocal Band. His goal was to bring a fresh, modern sound to traditional gospel, blending harmony and soul in a way that appealed to both young and old audiences. Over the years, the band featured some of the most talented voices in gospel music, including Guy Penrod, David Phelps, and Mark Lowry. Each member added their unique style while staying true to the Gaither message of hope and redemption. The group's live performances, especially the Gaither Homecoming concerts, became legendary, filled with laughter, testimony, and powerful worship moments. Bill's ability to unite generations of gospel artists under one stage showed his true gift, not just as a musician, but as a leader and visionary. His concerts weren't just shows, they felt like family reunions where everyone belonged. Bill and Gloria's faith has always been at the center of their lives, guiding every decision they made. Despite fame and success, they remain grounded in their Christian values and their deep love for family. They often performed with their children and grandchildren, turning their musical legacy into a family tradition. The Gaither Homecoming series, which brought together dozens of gospel legends, became a cultural phenomenon. These gatherings celebrated not only music but also unity and gratitude. For Bill and Gloria, their greatest joy was seeing how their songs touched hearts and changed lives. They often said that their mission was not to entertain, but to encourage, to remind people that God is always present, even in life's hardest moments. That message has carried their music through decades of change and continues to touch new generations of listeners today. At the heart of it all stands Bill Gaither, a man whose quiet strength and deep faith shaped the entire gospel music landscape. Beyond being a songwriter, he's a mentor, leader, and friend to countless musicians. Over his career, Bill has written or co-written more than 700 gospel songs, many of which became standards in church hymnals. But his real gift lies not just in songwriting, it's in how he brings people together. Bill has an uncanny ability to see potential in others. He often says that music is ministry, not competition, and that attitude helped nurture a new generation of gospel singers who found purpose through his encouragement. From small-town choirs to grand stages, Bill Gaither's influence runs deep. His concerts always carry warmth and sincerity. Each performance feels like a personal conversation with the audience, not just entertainment. Even in his later years, Bill shows no sign of slowing down. His energy, humor, and dedication remain as strong as ever. Fans who have met him describe him as humble and approachable, a man who genuinely listens and cares. Despite winning multiple Grammy Awards, Dove Awards, and being inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame, Bill never let fame define him. He measures success not by charts or sales, but by impact, by the lives changed through his music. Whether it's an elderly fan finding peace through He Touched Me or a young singer inspired by his mentorship, Bill continues to shape lives in quiet but powerful ways. Today, as gospel music evolves with modern sounds and younger artists, Bill Gaither stands as a bridge between generations. He continues producing concerts, mentoring artists, and sharing wisdom with those who look up to him. His life's message remains simple but profound: faith is not about perfection, but perseverance. Through all his achievements, Bill has stayed true to his calling, to use music as a vessel for God's love. His songs have been sung in stadiums, churches, and small gatherings around the world, each time reminding listeners that hope never fades. As he looks back on a career that has touched millions, Bill Gaither remains a symbol of what faith, humility, and dedication can achieve. His influence reaches far beyond gospel music. It extends into lives transformed by his unwavering message of love and grace. To this